Well, hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. How are all you guys? Welcome to Live at 5. Sorry to be just a couple minutes late. Was just getting a couple last minute things set up. It's been a busy day. Live at 5 is a stream I do aptly at 5. I'm the most uncreative person with naming ever in the history of the world, but at least it rhymes. I do these streams on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on my main channel. On Fridays, we head over to my second channel, Actively Unwoke, for happy hour. And on Saturdays, I rest. Now, we've got a full show ahead of us. I want to talk about this study that came out that says that 1 in 4 Americans are actually kind of like okay with violence against the government, which I think is actually, I would never condone violence, as you know. We don't want to be violent. We don't want to steal people's stuff. We don't want to destroy people's stuff. Other than that, I pretty much have no rules as long as you're following those helpful little guidelines. But I do think it's a good indication. I think it is an indicator that things are moving in the correct trajectory. So while I myself would never condone violence, I don't mind that other people are starting to think there may be occasion when that is not the worst idea in the world. I also have some critical race theory stuff. We've got a couple critical race theory things that we are going to look at. We've got some stuff that I want to show you guys that's happening in schools. I also have some words for people who are trying to ban books. But we're going to start out today with governor update. Because I've been getting all sorts of awesome endorsements in my not really run for governor of New Hampshire as the Libertarian Party nominee. And I thought we would just start off by looking at some of those updates. Now, you guys know, because I talk about them every now and again, that I have this little band of trolls on the internet, this little band of trolls and bullies, that they follow this stupid parody account that has literally doxed my house. This parody account literally doxed my house. Got banned from Twitter when I finally finagled Twitter into doing something about it, literally months after the fact, and came back. And these people basically stalk me all over Twitter, all day, every day. And they have lots of little bullies that stalk them too. And let's just say that this community of people that get off on bullying me or trying to bully me. I mean, they're it doesn't really impact me as much as they think it does, but they are nonetheless bullies. This is absolutely bullying behavior, and we're going to call it what it is because I'm sick of this bullshit. They were, let's just say, a little perturbed at me getting nominated for governor because you see, these people had convinced themselves that like I had no friends and no one liked me, and then all of a sudden I get nominated for governor by like a political party, and they're like, "Holy shit, how did that happen?" And so they've been having a nice cry. Leah basically does nothing except dance on the internet and kiss Mikey Harlow's ass. Like, she's pretty much useless. Let's be honest. She's having all sorts of feelings about it. Justice, who used to be on my channel, who stabbed me in the back like the 23-year-old child that he is, he said, this is the one I really liked. He was like, there were lots of internal whispers that Carlin was going to get nominated for governors. Justice is having all sorts of feelings about me getting nominated for governor. Let's just first of all, the internal rumblings about it was because I told him that it was probably going, or that it was going to happen, because it was planned to happen and then it wasn't going to happen and then it was going to happen and then it wasn't going to happen. There were internal rumblings because I effing told him that. But Justice is having like all sorts of feelings about me. Justice has basically filled his timeline with me. All sorts of, look at all of these feelings. These are literally all about me. All of these tweets. They're even, for some reason, they're even trying to get me verified on Twitter, which meant that they were probably hate watching the stream I did last Thursday, where in the middle of it, I said, I don't really want to be verified. And now all of a sudden, I have all these haters on Twitter that are going out of their way to try to get me verified on Twitter. Just for the record, I would prefer not to be verified on Twitter. I don't want it. Like, I'm cool. I guess if that's how they want to spend their time, fine. But yeah, I'm cool. So we have these guys. These guys are the obsession. Yeah, I mean, the obsession is very weird. Very, very, very weird, very strange. I don't really understand it. I don't understand why people all day, every day would just spend time stalking me. I mean, that stalker account legitimately stalks every single thing that I do. Every single thing. It is crazy. Just T. Oh, Just T. I kind of agree with this, to be honest. Their obsession with you makes me think you are the only method by which they can get funky in bed. Well, I certainly think at least some of them are thinking about me in ways that they might not even want to admit to themselves. I certainly think that that is true. So that's what's going on with the haters. But I also had another one that is like a much more entertaining endorsement that I wanted to tell you guys about. And that came from the kind of Libertarian Party of Delaware. And I say kind of because there's a weird thing going on with the Libertarian Party of Delaware right now, where a member of the Libertarian Party of Delaware stole the party, kicked out 2,000 members of the party, and then created his own Libertarian Party of Delaware in which he gets to approve all the members. Doesn't that sound libertarian, to steal a political party, kick everyone out, and then form your own little social club? But I bring this up because they actually released a whole statement. Look at this, it's on letterhead and everything. They released an entire official statement denouncing Jeremy and I thought we would take a look at it. They said in 1960 or 76, delegates in the convention for the Libertarian National Party replaced the phrase bigotry is irrational and repugnant, or excuse me, irrational and unjust with bigotry is irrational and repugnant. This wording has appeared in every national platform since then. The Libertarian Party of Delaware agrees. In spite of this long-standing belief, the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire at their state convention on January 29th, 2022 endorsed a so-called race realist and a Holocaust apologist for the United States Senate and Governor of New Hampshire, respectively. Race realism is a pseudo-scientific promotion of the idea that the disadvantages and suffering of the minority communities in the U.S. are rooted in the inherent racial traits of the individuals experiencing them, rather than as the result of centuries of oppression by the state that is only recently being examined and addressed. We are unaware of any fringe ideology holding the victims of the genocidal Holocaust in Nazi Germany choose to suffer and die at the hands of the Third Reich before their births in order to experience oppression. But this is the position of New Hampshire's affiliate, a Dorst candidate for governor. Now, as you guys know, because you watch my channel, I have done several streams explaining the spiritual beliefs behind the idea that we all choose experiences we have in our life before we're born. These are beliefs that have been practiced by millions of people all over the world for thousands of years. If Will McVeigh had done even the most basic research, Will, you could have done a Google search. You literally could have done a Google search before you wrote a statement on the internet, dude, saying, we are unaware of any such belief system practiced by millions of people all over the world for thousands of years. You know, some people, even like, listen, I'm not a practicing Buddhist, but even people with the most basic understanding of Buddhism would understand these ideas because there's overlap between the two ideologies. Anyway, let's keep going with this letter of renunciation. These views do not represent the views of the Libertarian Party of Delaware. Well, no shit, Sherlock. We're in the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, not the Libertarian Party of Delaware, and have no place in the National Libertarian Party we have dedicated years of time and money to build. We call on the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire to repudiate their endorsements of these fringe ideologues. We call on other affiliates of the Libertarian National Party to join us in our condemnation of these choices. We call on the Libertarian National Committee to disavow the endorsements of these candidates in New Hampshire. We call on libertarians across the country to get involved with your local libertarian affiliate. Attend your local convention this year. Sorry, didn't mean to cough into the mic. Spit just went down the wrong tube. I was on a roll too, damn it. We call upon libertarians across the country to get involved in your local libertarian affiliates, attend your local conventions this year, and protect the Libertarian Party and philosophy from the national organization conspiring to take over the Libertarian Party and promote campaigns like these as representatives of our beliefs. Well, I guess if additional libertarian parties, state parties that are not New Hampshire and therefore not as libertarian as the state party that I happen to be in and that happened to endorse me for governor of New Hampshire, I guess if other libertarian state parties want to disavow me, I can't speak for Jeremy, but I will absolutely accept your endorsement. Massachusetts, I'm waiting for your endorsement. Come on, Massachusetts. You want to endorse me, Massachusetts. You know you want to. I think this is great. I also accepted the endorsement of Vermin Supreme yesterday, who said that he's got more, or that I've got more baggage than he does, which I don't think is actually true since Supreme wears a boot on his head and says he's a wizard and wants to give everyone a pony, but whatever. I'm enjoying every second of it, and I thought you guys might enjoy it as well. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Now, before we get into our primary article that we're going to look at today, we're going to look at some CRT stuff too. I just want to remind everyone that if you would like to support the work I do and, maybe support me on this crazy run for governor, I'm not doing fundraising or campaigning or anything, but there are ways that you can help me out being able to talk about running for governor, even if it's just like on Twitter. One of the things you can do is subscribe to my channel. People are unsubscribed from my YouTube channel literally every single day of the week. So it helps if you double check and you make sure you're subscribed, you have notifications on. You, of course, can also mount that like button for me. Another thing you can do is join me in my Locals community. Locals is the best place on the internet. It is the nicest place on the internet. It is a bully-free zone. That's why I kicked Justice's ass out of my Locals, because Justice is a bully for interacting with other bullies. So he's no longer there because we have a bully-free zone in my Locals. We have a thief-free zone in my Locals. And we do all sorts of great stuff together as a community. We do 2 Zoom calls a week. Our next Zoom call is tomorrow at noon Eastern time. So if you would like to join our next Zoom call, you can just sign up for Locals on the stream right now. It'll be all set. We also have a book club coming up. We have a craft and bitch coming up. So lots of good things going on there. You can become a member of my Locals by signing up for $5 a month. You can do it for $50 a year, which gives you 2 months for free. You can also make a one-time gift. You can join for free as well. You join for free just by heading over to kb.locals.com. It's right here. Bing. And that'll allow you to get access to the community. It'll allow you to get access to ad-free videos, be able to see what's going on. When you join for free, you're kind of a lurker, because the way that Locals stays nice and troll free and bully free is that we don't allow people to comment unless you've got a little skin in the game. That's how the whole thing works, and it keeps it nice for everyone. I also want to let you guys know that today I did a webinar for Actively Unwoke. I did my first intro webinar. It's actually still linked on the website because I haven't taken it down yet because I just got done with it not too long ago. But I did this webinar called Understanding the Danger of Critical Race Theory for Normal People. It was a great success. A lot of people came. Now, if you didn't get a chance to attend the live webinar, just head over to the website. You can actually you can access the recording right now on the webinar registration page. And I am going to be moving that over to an archive. But if you want to see the recording, if you feel like you missed out, you can access it right now. We had so many great questions. Oh my God. I've done like a lot of webinars, not on this topic. I have never gotten as many questions as I got today in this webinar. So I thought it was really, really great. And I was really happy with the way the webinar went and how it was received. And so if you want to catch the recording of that, just head over to activelyunwoke.com and you can head over to the landing page right now before I update the website. And you can access that recording and also pre-order a copy of my book while you're there. I had a talk with my publisher earlier today, right after the webinar, actually, and they're pretty happy with pre-sales. They're pretty happy. But I want them to be overjoyed with how many pre-sales that we get. Now, the Kindle version should be going on pre-sale very soon. The hardcover version is on sale now. They assured me that if they ever run out of hardcover materials for supply chain issues, they got that print on demand with the paperback ready to go, ready to hit that button if they need to. So that's pretty great as well. All right, guys, let's dig into this story. This is on NPR. 1 in 4 Americans say violence against the government is sometimes okay. Sometimes okay. NPR is perturbed about this article. They are. Nearly a quarter of Americans say it's sometimes okay to use violence against the government, and 1 in 10 Americans say violence is justified right now. As a reminder for our YouTube overlords, I'm not advocating violence in any way. Don't hurt people, don't steal things, don't destroy people's stuff. Anything else, I don't really care. That's the finding of a new report by the COVID States Project. The COVID States Project. Oh my god. Hang on. Is this a conservative project or a Democrat project? I'm betting it's a Democrat project. I'm betting that's a Democrat thing. That doesn't sound like a conservative thing, but who knows? Which asked 23,000 people across the country whether it is ever justifiable to engage in violent protest against the government. The report is one of several in recent months that find people more likely to contemplate violent protest than they have been in the past. Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why people are more likely to contemplate violent protest. Now, I bet we can surmise that NPR thinks that January 6th is the reason that people are more likely to contemplate violent protest. But I'm going to bet that I almost said Jeremy, like Jeremy Coffin for Senate. January 6th was more a symptom than a cause. The symptom of watching Democrats protest violently across the country for a full year. That's what may have given them the idea that violent protest is okay. Let me just make this font bigger. I always forget to make the font bigger for you guys. I'm going to get it together someday, I promise. Nearly 1 in 4 said violence was either definitely or probably justifiable against the government. A similar percentage of liberals and conservatives agree on that point. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that they both agree? After when was I talking about that I thought there would it must have been earlier this year. I think I was talking about how earlier this year, well, I know I was talking about it. I just don't remember when I was talking about it. I was talking about how I thought that there was a lot of alignment between like MAGA voters and Black Lives Matter protesters. Not the activists, not the people we looked at yesterday, but like everyday protesters. I thought there was a lot of alignment between those two audiences and they would actually get along if they, pulled their heads out of their backsides enough long enough to figure that out. And then, of course, I mean, we saw when New York City did implement vaccine mandates, that we did see that Black Lives Matter protesters were protesting against vaccine mandates, and I was like, aha. But it seems as though they are also aligned on potential violence against the government. That's not surprising when you think about how American history is taught, said COVID States Project Director. Now we're about to find out their political affiliations. We begin with the American Revolution against an illegitimate government, and so we are, in a sense, taught from grade school that at some points in history, it's justifiable to engage in violent protest. Now I'm even more convinced that this is a Democrat thing. Because is this guy arguing that we shouldn't be teaching about the American Revolution? Is that what this article's arguing? Because it says that's not surprising when you think about how American history is taught. I mean, the American Revolution is like a fact of history. It's not theoretical. It happened in real life. Are we arguing that that historical event shouldn't be taught to not give people the idea that violence against your government is okay? The COVID States Project typically asks questions about America's COVID-related policy preference and behaviors, whether they understand what kinds of masks are better at filtering viral particles, for instance. Oh yeah, this is definitely a Democrat project. Oh yeah, definitely. But in the current political climate, COVID-19 questions aren't too far removed from questions about violence. Oh, look at this. Ethan, every day of my YouTube existence. Ethan says, WTF, I just had to resubscribe to you. I know I didn't unsubscribe, but I came and I found I couldn't chat. Every single day of my YouTube existence. Every single day, YouTube unsubscribes people from my account. Guys, you got to check in. Remember, I post content almost every single day of the week except for Saturdays. And so if you haven't seen my content lately, I guarantee you I have posted content and YouTube has done shenanigans or tomfoolery. Ethan, welcome back. I'm glad you made it. Before the election in 2020, we were looking at both beliefs around the anticipated legitimacy of the election, as well as things like COVID modality, because obviously how people voted was determined in part by COVID. We see it all as part of the package with what has happened over the last 2 years in American society. The survey also found that 1 in 10 Americans say violence is justified right now. Guys, I'm going to do a poll in the chat. This is on YouTube only. Sorry, Odyssey and Rockfin. Am I even live on Rockfin? I'm not live on Rockfin. Oh, shit. There we go. Now I'm live on Rockfin. Sorry, I didn't press the button. So I'm going to put a poll in the YouTube chat. Do you believe violence against the government is ever justifiable? Yes? No. I should probably spell government correctly in this poll. I mean, I guess it's not like a requirement, but should probably spell it correctly. Hang on. I know how to spell government on a good day anyway. Fun fact, spelling is by far my worst subject. It is but in school, so bad with spelling. If you guys ever see me have a typo in anything, don't even bother correcting me. I'm sorry. There are things that I suck at, and those things are spelling and copy editing, and it's just the way it is. The survey also found 1 in 10 Americans say violence is justified right now. Republicans and ideological conservatives are most likely to say violent protest against the government is justifiable right now. The report found among Republican men, of course they had to segment it by men, the figures rise to nearly 1 in 5. 2/3 of those who believe violent protest is justified say the federal government is the appropriate target. I kind of love that, if I'm honest about it. I kind of love it. Listen, man, you know who the appropriate target is not for violent protest? A black-owned business or any, I shouldn't even say black. I mean, obviously black-owned business, they're not, justifiable for protest. Any small business. The reason that BLM and Antifa attack small business is because they're against capitalism. It's not because they're against the government. It's not because they're against the police. It's because they're against capitalism. Conservatives at least have the good sense to know that if they're going to engage in violent protest, to direct it at the proper target, which is the government, in which case I don't believe in violence. But, if I did believe in violence, the government would probably be the correct target. I just don't want the FBI showing up at my door. I don't want to visit saying, Carlin, are you advocating for the violent overthrow of the federal government? I'll be like, no, I'm not. I said violence wasn't justified. I'm merely reporting on the fact that 1 in 5 Republican men and 1 in 10 Americans overall seem to think the violence is justifiable right now, and they have their sights set on you. I'm just doing a news report, man. I'm basically a journalist. I'm like a professional journalist right now. Kind of. But I think that we can say that if they have the good sense to understand that, if they're going to engage in this, that is the correct target. The mom and pop store on the street corner is not the correct target. The Target or the CVS or the department store is not the correct target. You only attack businesses if you are against capitalism. If you attack the police or the government, I can kind of, again, not advocating for violence, I can kind of wrap my head around that idea. You're attacking something that is imposing its will on your life. I can kind of I understand it. I understand it. I do not understand violent protest against small businesses unless your target is capitalism and not authoritarianism. Just saying. Unfortunately, these survey findings are not at all surprising, said Rachel, a senior fellow at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Rachel, who was not involved in the survey, says the findings are consistent with other recent polling. Isn't that fascinating? Last year, a University of Chicago poll found that 1 in 10 Americans believed the use of force was justified to restore Trump to the presidency after he lost. Well, I don't agree with that. And in December, a Washington Post and University of Maryland together found that 1 in 3 Americans think violence against the government is sometimes justified. The number of Americans who support violent political protests has doubled over the last decade. And to Rachel, these poll results reflect more than philosophizing. It's moved from a sphere of chest thumping into a sphere of reality. It's affecting election workers, volunteer poll workers, school boards, really kind of wrap and weft of our democratic system. Told you this was a Democrat article. Told you. The government needs to hold citizens to account, says Rachel, who apparently is a little bit more than an independent poll interpreter and is an obvious activist. Not just those who would storm the Capitol, but anyone who threatens the workers to keep our democracy running. Okay, all right. So there's that. Let's see how our polls go. Oh, you guys are. I love you guys. 98% of the people in my chat say that they believe that violence against the government is perhaps sometimes justifiable. I'm just gonna be standing behind you guys. Just I'm a pacifist. I don't engage in violence. I'm just gonna stand back and let you guys do whatever you want to do. I'm not gonna get involved. I'm not gonna get involved. My days of getting interviewed by the FBI are over. All right, guys, mount that like button if you haven't already. Next, I want to show you this article from reason.com. But I thought CRT wasn't taught in schools. This is an article that says Hispanic students were forced to learn critical race theory and they hated it. Let's see. During the 2020 fall semester, Kaylee Fontanella, a high school English teacher working in Salinas, California school district, noticed that many of her students were failing one of their classes, ethnic studies. This was at the height of the pandemic and instruction was entirely online, leaving many students in the lurch. Still, Fontanella thought, it was odd to see so many Fs, and Fs in ethnic studies of all things. That's got to be like one of the easiest classes that exists. Salinas has a majority Mexican population. All of Fontanella's students were Hispanic and were learning English as a second language. Education officials who propose adding ethnic studies to various curriculums and making it mandatory, as the Salinas School District did, typically intend for privileged white students to learn about other cultures. There's a certain irony in requiring members of an ethnic minority to study this, and an even greater irony in the fact that such students were struggling intensely with the course. My students are failing ethnic studies, says Fontanella, who is of Jamaican ancestry. I would say half of them are failing ethnic studies class. Ethan asks if this is my Victor. No. Victor Borisenko is actually a pretty common name. So if you're looking for my Victor, good luck, because it is a fairly common name. And I promise you, my husband did not produce a dance CD in 2009. I know it's not a common name in America. It is in the Ukraine. Okay. It is in the Ukraine and in Russia. So no, I'm sorry to disappoint. That is not my Victor. This made Fontanella curious about what the course was teaching. All of the high school teachers used the same online platform to post lesson plans and course materials, so Fontanella decided to take a look. She was shocked at what she saw. This was like extreme left brainwashing of these kids. Critical race theory all throughout the lessons, from start to finish. The whole thing. But I thought critical race theory wasn't taught in K-12 schools. Then it's just got some stuff about CRT. Many adherents of CRT deny that it's taught to primary education students, and mainstream media have been quick to line up behind such claims. That's why Fontanella's discovery was so significant. The teacher thought the kids all learned about the 4 I's of oppression. The 4 I's are institutional, internalized, ideological, and interpersonal oppression. And then there were a whole presentation of critical race theory that actually had students analyze the school through critical race theory. Holy shit, look at this. Look at this. Can I make this any bigger? Hang on. Oh, that's much. Look at this. But I thought critical race theory wasn't taught in K-12 schools. I'm sorry, you guys are just gonna have to get used to that. I'm gonna do it in that voice every single time. Do you know how many times I've had to hear critical race theory not taught in K through 12 schools? This slide right here says critical race theory definition. What are some of the benefits of looking at things through the critical race theory? That's not, dude, it's not even a proper sentence. That is not a properly worded sentence. What are some of the benefits at looking at things through the critical race theory? This is a high school course. I'm going to say this sentence again. Let's grammatically correct this sentence during the stream. What are some benefits at looking at things through the critical race theory? What is the default? Why would people be against it? They're asking high school students to explore why people might be against critical race theory. Here's another one. Let's get that image up. Analyze the policy through a critical race theory framework. That shouldn't be a question mark. That should be a period. God damn these people. Listen, man, I know I make typos in slides when I make PowerPoint presentations, but at least I use proper grammar. What do you think is the intended purpose of this school policy? What is the school trying to achieve? I can forgive typos. Typos I can understand. I am the reigning typo queen of the universe. I will not forgive improper grammar. This is just wrong. You're a high school teacher, for crying out loud. The kids don't even want this stuff, says Fontanella, noting that the ethnic studies course replaced a much more popular health class in the middle of a pandemic, no less. Most of them are just like, why do we have to take this class? That would have to direct the question. They would have to direct the question to California Governor Newsom and the state's Democrat-controlled legislators, which mandated to make ethnic studies mandated for all public schools. So, if you are wondering if critical race theory is taught in class in K through 12 schools, yes, it is. Let's see. Let's get some more good stuff out of this article. It seems like she's got a lot to say. Some people are born in third base and they think they hit a triple, says Fontanella, recalling the intended message of the exercise. So they are born on third base and they graduate college because they have a head start. Many people might consider such activities to be a form of left-wing activism infiltrating the classroom. Fontanella is one of them. As a Christian, a conservative, and a Black woman, she doesn't believe that students, especially her students, learning English as a second language, need to be taught to check their privilege. It's a hyper-race focused. And when they're hyper-race focused, racism will follow. Critical race theory creates more racism. It does not create less racism. It creates more racism. Fontanella decided that district parents had a right to know what was in the curriculum and took steps to obtain the lesson plan so that her job would not be at risk. Reason needs a copy editor as well, if she leaked them. But when the district handed over the documents, it omitted the slides that included the words critical race theory. Sketchy, sketchy. Sketchy, sketchy. So this is a lesson, guys. In a couple weeks, we have a webinar with Nicole Solis on activelyunwoke.com in which we're going to learn how to write public records requests. This is a lesson that we need to be requesting the words critical race theory in our public records requests. Listen to when the school district handed over the documents, it omitted the slides that included the words critical race theory. She decided to write a letter to the school board in protest of the ethnic studies curriculum. It was read out loud at a meeting on June 22nd. I do not appreciate constantly being pandered to and treated differently because of the color of my skin, especially since I do not have the freedom to go along with it, Fontanella wrote, warning that the curriculum was an attempt at left-wing indoctrination. You know it's something evil when things get so nasty defending it. While she has received much praise for speaking out, Fontanello has also endured considerable online harassment, including death threats. One told her to have fun being a token Black friend to racist conservatives her whole life. Oh, isn't that nice? And oh, look at this. They're all basically white liberals. Of course they are. Of course they are. Well, Rachel, we salute you. Thank you for exposing, or not, no, I thought, oh, sorry, her name's not Rachel. Oh my God, I apologize. Callie, right? Callie Fontanella. Thank you, Callie. There we go. I got the name correct. Thank you, Callie, for exposing the critical race theory nonsense in your school. We salute you. Maybe I should try to have her on the channel. Let me make a note of that real quick. I always get these great ideas of people I should have on the channel, and then I did reach out to that guy on Twitter. You guys remember that guy with that great Twitter thread? I did reach out to him and he didn't respond. So I tried. I tried to get him on the channel. Yeah, well, thank this Rachel. Thank you, Rachel. All right, guys, if you're enjoying the stream so far, please make sure you mount that like button. As a reminder, I do this live at 5 on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on my main channel. On Fridays, we go over to my second channel, Actively Unwoke, for happy hour. Now, a couple programming notes. Number one, on Thursday of this week, I will be getting a tattoo, and therefore I will not be going live at 5 on Thursday. I may go live later in the day. We're going to see how I feel. If you guys want to see the tattoo I'm getting, hang on. I will make the screen big. I am finishing my Epic Sun. Check this out. This middle part is not done at all. It's going to be a big, booming ball of fire. This will be my third sitting for this tattoo. How many hours into it am I? I think I'm like 7 hours in. 7 hours in so far. And so I got to go back. He's got to trip out the middle, but doesn't it look good? Oh my God. He's going to have some bright rays coming up right here. Oh my God. It's so good. It's so good. I love this tattoo so much. But that's what I'm going to be doing on Thursday. I will be posting pictures of my finished tattoo, this section of it, in locals. So you guys will be the first to see the update. But I do have some good news. Just because I'm not going to be live on Thursday. Well, no, this is not because. I do this every week. Joshua and I will be live tonight. Second, 2 live streams on Tuesdays. We have our regular show, Nothing Remotely Controversial, live at 9:30 tonight. If you've never been to the show, Joshua is a psychic. He's also an all-around good guy and has really good vibes. And just come hang out with us. We'll talk about the news. Joshua will psychic some stuff. Joshua correctly predicted that Tom Brady was going to retire last week. So if you guys had put some money on Tom Brady retiring based on Joshua's prediction, you would have won. Now, I can't always guarantee that Joshua was going to be right, but he's right about a lot of stuff. So please make sure you join us at 9:30 tonight for psychicking and news and all around fun stuff. We've already got some good super chats. We already have 4 super chats. Let's see what questions we're going to be answering tonight on Nothing Remotely Controversial. Will Republicans take back Congress? That's a good question. Is Adele part of the Hollywood woke liberal elite that look down on us? Does Jay-Z and Beyonce have ties to the secret societies and the cult, including Aleister Crowley Church? Nat D always ask the best questions. And is there any truth that the former Secretary of State under Bill Clinton, Madeleine Albright, has her own Epstein-style island and has ties to human trafficking? We will be answering all those questions tonight and more on Nothing Remotely Controversial at 9:30. All right, let's go back. Now, here's the other critical race theory thing I wanted to talk about. This is from Parents Defending Education. Parents Defending Education are doing an amazing job of doing lots of public record requests. They're doing an amazing job of this. And so Parents Defending Ed apparently has gotten a hold of some Black Lives Matter curriculum. And I thought that was pretty interesting since yesterday we learned that Black Lives Matter apparently misplaced $60 million in their corporate headquarters. So I thought this was pretty interesting. Evanston and Skokie School District 65 provides Black Lives Matter and queer lesson plans for students from preschool to 8th grade. Evanston and Skokie School Districts published a statement from the superintendent on the district's website promoting, hang on, let me make this bigger, promoting how Black Lives Matter at School unit of study will be implemented throughout February 2022. Of course, this is the first day of Black History Month, so I'm sure this is correlated with that. But that doesn't mean that schools need to teach Black Lives Matter, as it turns out. The school district superintendent states that this serves as an important opportunity for us to enact our racial equity work within our learning spaces, center Black lives and contributions in our teaching and learning, and connect our communities to the global network of individuals striving to make the world more just. The superintendent then states that Black Lives Matter material will be implemented into the full curriculum next year. Beginning next year, the learning associated with the Black Lives Matter at School unit of study will be interwoven into the curriculum, including new units into the K-12 social studies framework, and will no longer be taught as a dedicated equity week. As we work through the integration of this learning across content areas, we look to expose all students to more accurate and affirming historical content that elevates marginalized people and includes the interrogation of events from multiple perspectives rolled out over several years. Our new social media studies curriculum will promote civic competence, knowledge, and democratic dispositions to lead students to be engaged and active in public life. Well, isn't that nice? But look at this. Look at this. The school district published the lessons and resources that will be used to teach students in a Black History Week of action. A Black History Week of action. They're literally saying they're going to do activism. They're doing activism right now as we speak. There are lessons for students in preschool through 8th grade. Additional lessons are provided for physical education classes and students with special needs. And then they've got some of the lessons, and look at this. Look at this treasure trove. Oh, this is going to be, man. I'm going to post this in locals right now. For all of my locals members, hang on. I'm posting this in locals right now. We're going to start going through this. This is like Unwoke Army. I know I haven't launched the Unwoke Army application yet. I'm going to, like, this week. It's going to be up tomorrow, I promise you. But this is like Unwoke Army preview. BLM course materials. I'm going to put it for supporters only. So as a special perk, not that you guys can't find the link if you want to. You probably could. You definitely could. You're not idiots. But I don't know. That was a decision I made on the fly. I'll probably go back, change it later. Anyway, let's look at some of the. We gotta go through this stuff, guys. I know Parents Defending Ed has done this, but like the more eyes, the better. We gotta go through this stuff and see what they're teaching. I'm gonna be doing it too. We'll do it as a group activity. Check this out. Let's take a look. The lesson plans for preschool and kindergarten include teaching young children injustice at the institutional or systemic level and having young children analyze the harmful impact of bias and injustice in the world, historically and today. Lessons include slides to teach children each school day from January 28th through February 7th, with homework assignments for children to complete at home. The lessons also include teaching young children queer and gender issues. It's even got Comic Sans font. This is how you know to take it seriously, because it has Comic Sans as the goddamn font. Let's see. Students will recognize unfairness on the individual level. Okay, so this is for pre-K and kindergarten. Here are their social justice standards. Students will recognize unfairness on an individual level, e.g., bias speech, and injustice at the institutional or systemic level, like discrimination. The next one is students will analyze the harmful impacts of bias and justice in the world, historically and today. I'm just curious. Does anyone in the chat have a child that is in pre-K or kindergarten? I'm just curious. I'm curious if a child in pre-K or kindergarten, which means they are 4 or 5 years old, is capable of analyzing the harmful impact of bias and injustice in the world, both historically and today. What, like, can a 4-year-old do that? I cannot wait to dig into these lesson plans. Okay, sour kiwi. You got a 3-year-old sour kiwi. Is your 3-year-old capable of analyzing the harmful impact of bias and injustice in the world today and historically? I'm going to say no. They will also express empathy when people are excluded or mistreated because of their identities, and concern when they themselves experience bias. Oh my God, this curriculum is going to be nuts. This curriculum is going to be crazy town. Parents Defending Ed, man. Nikki, I owe you an email. Nikki's the president of Parents Defending Ed, and I do legitimately owe her an email. Nikki, well done. Well done. On Tuesday, the 4 and 5-year-old students will develop language and knowledge to accurately and respectfully describe how people, including themselves, are both similar to and different from each other and others in the identity group. On Wednesday, these 4 and 5-year-olds will say, I see the way my family and I do things is both the same and different from how other people do things, and I am interested in both. On Thursday, students will respectfully express curiosity about the history and lived experiences of others, and will exchange ideas and beliefs in an open minded way. Yeah, incognito. This is what I'm going for, incognito. My daughter is 5, and her biggest thing in the world is wanting her juice box and throwing temper tantrums. So you're telling me your daughter's not doing a complex analysis of the history of bias? Obviously. What this tells us, to be really honest, what this tells us is that this curriculum is more about the teachers than it is about the students. This is not written for 4 and 5-year-olds. This is written to make the teachers feel good and just and like they've accomplished a goal in life by creating little activists. The students ain't getting nothing out of this. This is all about the teachers. On Friday, the students will examine diversity in social, cultural, and political and historical context rather than in ways that are superficial and oversimplified. While God knows we wouldn't want to oversimplify something for a 4-year-old. And on the last day, students will recognize the unfairness on the individual level, e.g., biased speech, and injustice at the institutional or systemic level, e.g., discrimination. I just want to go back. I just want to let's look at a BLM day 1 pre-lesson plan, or we can even look at a slide deck apparently. Oh, this is oh, they have exactly how they're teaching it. Holy shit. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised by this. Like, this is pretty standard when you're delivering like curriculums. This is amazing. I almost this might be okay. Can I share too much information with you guys? This is better than sex. The fact that we have the entire BLM curriculum and they have the teacher instruction guides. Holy shit. Parents Defending Ed, I hope you downloaded all of this. Oh my God. I think I literally just had an orgasm. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know that's TMI. I know. I'm sorry. I'm just blown away. This is amazing. Holy shit. Yeah, Just T, I'm going to download them. Don't you worry about it. That's going to be a project. Okay, load back. Come on. Come on. Load it back. I want to look at that slide deck. I bet they have them down. Oh, yeah, they've got them down. Yeah, this is all on Parents Defending Ed's website. So Parents Defending Ed has got this. So, holy shit. Wow. I didn't think my day could get any better after my meeting with my publisher. I literally just had an orgasm, I think. I really did. All right, let's look at this slide deck. We're going to be appropriate. No more jokes allowed. I'm told I'm not allowed to be funny on the internet anymore. This is for kindergarten. Oh my God, they've got the notes. They have the presenter notes too. Oh my God, AD, thank you for the super chat. We are studying multicultural psychology in my general psych class, and obviously, the lived experience of some of the students was living in fear of the police when I challenged them with actual statistics. I was told I was not being respectful. Well, yeah, such as it goes. I'm sorry. You're not allowed to say anything in psychology classes anymore. I'm sorry. It doesn't surprise me though. That really sucks. AD, if you want to send me some of the materials you're learning in your psychology class, please feel free to reach out to me. Go to activelyunwoke.com. There's an email address, there's a contact form. You can send me whatever you like from your psychology class, and I greatly appreciate the nice big super chat. This is a lesson plan for kindergarteners. Everyone has a different skin color. Yeah, dude. Hang on. Where's my vape? We're not going to talk about what kind of cigarette that is. Everyone has different skin colors. Black skin with black text on black background is beautiful. Just us project presents, our lives matter. Well, fine. They don't even have the font colored correctly to be able to show up. We need to learn some important words. Movement, racism. They're teaching kindergarteners the word activist. Movement, a group of people who have the same goal. The people work hard to reach the goal. Racism, being mean to someone because of the color of their skin. Activist, a person believes that something should change and works hard to make that change happen. What is the Black Lives Matter movement? I don't know why they can't start, like, at least make the text readable. Black Lives Matter is a movement, or as a the movement, excuse me. The movement is a group of activists from around the they literally are creating curriculum just to teach preschoolers and kindergarteners what Black Lives Matter is. Who started Black Lives Matter? Oh, Patrisse Cullors, who has disappeared with $60 million. Before reading the story, what is the difference between Ace and Chase? Oh, they're black, and it's a black car and a white car. No, we're not going to watch the movie. Maybe we'll do a separate stream to watch the movies. Oh my god. They're gonna teach them this freaking car thing. They're gonna teach them that like the black car and the white car in a race, and on the race course, the black car is going to encounter a lot more obstacles than the white car. That's exactly what's gonna happen in this. And the white car is gonna get to like take shortcuts. See, the white car is gonna go on the easy path, and the black car is gonna go on the hard path with like made up obstacles that don't actually bear any resemblance to reality at all. But they just made it up because it's a cartoon and it's a fantasy, so they can make shit up. Kindergarteners are learning this. Read out loud. Giant steps to change the world. Oh, good. They've got a children's story about activism too. How can we make a better pattern? You guys can't read this headline, but it says, "Why don't we say all lives matter?" Why don't we say all lives matter? That's what that says. In the history of our country, people have been treated unfairly because of the color of their skin. Sadly, this is happening today in different ways. And then they have this cartoon. Well, I think all lives matter. We should care exactly equally about all the times about everything. All houses matter, with the house on fire on one side and then the guy putting the house out that's not on fire. Kindergarteners. I cannot wait to dig into this. Obviously, you guys saw the impact that this had on me. If you appreciate the fact that Parents Defending Ed sussed out this curriculum and got all of these goodies for us to wade through, please mount that like button for me. If you're feeling this curriculum like I'm feeling this curriculum, my husband is so jealous of this curriculum right now. My husband's probably listening to this down in his office because he can hear sometimes what I'm saying. He's probably be like, "What the f is going on? What is going on up there?" My husband's so jealous of the curriculum right now. It's so sick how jealous he is. Wow, Parents Defending Ed. I salute you. Parents Defending Ed is doing the work that needs to be done. What I want to say though, before we wrap up the stream today, is you know what work does not. Oh, we'll do Tarot Tuesday. If people are here for Tarot Tuesday, we'll do Tarot Tuesday as well. We're going to do it at the end. Don't worry. But in order to wrap up my fun segments anyway, or my work statements, then we get to our fun stuff with our tarot cards because it's Tuesday. Parents Defending Ed is doing the correct work. They are doing the correct effort. You know who's not? Everyone that's engaging in book banning. About maybe a month or two ago, I think it was a couple months ago, I did a 23-minute rant about Moms for Liberty in Tennessee trying to ban books. This book banning bullshit has now shown up all over the country. And I said in that 23-minute video of ranting about how we should not be banning books, I said, the left is going to use this against us. Cut this shit out. And no one listened. And everyone be like, oh, I'm sorry. We need to ban books. That's what we should be focused on. And ever since then, there has been so much ridiculous effort put into trying to get books banned in schools. This is unnecessary. This does not serve our purpose. And this makes us look like the monsters we are flipping fighting, and people need to cut this shit out. AD, thank you for the super chat. As a firefighter, yes, all houses matter. So that cartoon is ironically right. The house on fire is a lost cause, so you place water on the other house. Thank you for that expertise, AD. I appreciate it. Yeah, exactly, Ethan. No one likes to remember this. That people tried to ban Harry Potter because it had witchcraft. What happened? Did you ban Harry Potter? No. But the left is using this against us every single day. Every single day, I see articles like this that are talking about the banning of books. And this was an entirely unforced error. Now, I know conservatives, because conservatives are driving this as they always do. I'm sorry. If you're not one of the people driving this, I'm not yelling at you. If you are one of the people that's like, I know what we can do to solve this problem, ban books. If you are one of those people, you need to cut that shit out because you are going to create problems for the rest of us and it's not cool. This is what we should be focused on. Curriculum. Finding schools who are teaching your kids to be activists when they're 4 years old. This is what needs to be focused on. Not books you don't like. Now, I'm not talking about the overt porn. Because that's what's going to come. Like, Carlin, have you seen these books? They have pornography in them. I'm not talking about those. Because you know you've gone beyond those. You've gone beyond them. You are not just trying. Don't tell me I know everything that's going on in this space. Yes, Ethan, you are correct. Yes. Conservatives will never admit this, but it was indeed conservatives who tried to ban Harry Potter. Because conservatives, not all of you, but enough of you, are more like the woke left than you want to admit. Authoritarians, just like the woke left. Let's read this article from MSNBC News that is not going to paint what we're trying to do in a good light. Banned. Books on race and sexuality are disappearing from Texas schools in record numbers, facing pressure from parents and threats of criminal charges, and some districts have ignored policies meant to prevent censorship. Librarians and students are pushing back. Now listen. I remember more than a few instances. When I heard from conservatives, they're like, Carlin, you just can't take criticism. Well, you know what? If you ever told me that I couldn't take criticism and you get pissed at me for talking about the fact that you shouldn't be talking about banning books, F right off. If we aren't willing to admit when things aren't working and change course, then what are you doing? This is a losing strategy. This banning of books will co opt the work of a lot of people. A lot of people have sacrificed a lot to fight back against critical race theory. I am one of those people, and I have dozens of friends, many of whom are whistleblowers, many of whom sacrificed their entire careers to fight back against critical race theory. You are destroying all their work and all their sacrifice and completely disrespecting the contributions that they've made when you focus on banning books. It is going to screw up this entire thing. If you don't know what else to do, if you're like, Carlin, we just can't think of another strategy, dude, watch the webinar I gave earlier today. Come to the webinar I'm doing on February 11th. Put every single amount of energy that you have put into banning books and put it into writing public records requests. If you put every single amount of energy that you've put into book banning, that you put into writing public records requests to the schools to find out what they're teaching, that would be a lot better use of energy. That would be an infinitely better use of energy. If you want something else to do, I just gave you something else to do. Stop banning books. From a secluded spot in her high school library, a 17-year-old girl spoke softly on her cell phone, worried that someone might overhear her say the things she'd hidden from her parents for years. They don't know she's queer, the student told the reporter. And given the past comments about homosexuality being a sin she's long feared, they would learn her secret if they saw what she reads in the library. That space, with its endless rows of books about characters from all sorts of backgrounds, has been her safe haven, she said, one of the few places where she feels completely free to be herself. But books, including one of her favorites, have been vanished from the shelves of the Katy Independent School District libraries over the past few months. Gone. Jack of Hearts and Other Parts, a book she'd read last year about a gay teenager who isn't shy about discussing his adventurous sex life. Also banished, The Handsome Girl and Her Beautiful Boy, All Boys Aren't Blue, and Lawn Boy, all coming-of-age stories that prominently feature LGBTQ characters and passages about sex. Some titles were removed after parents formally complained, but others were quietly banned by the district without official review. As I've struggled with my own identity as a queer person, it's been really, really important to me that I have access to these books, the girl said, whom MSNBC News is not naming to avoid revealing her sexuality. And I'm sure it's really important to other queer kids. You should be able to see yourself reflected on the page. Now, listen, I want to emphasize this again. I don't think that we should be teaching books with overt sexuality in them in K through 12 schools. I just don't. I don't think it's appropriate. If they put them in the public library that like serves the community, you can't do anything about that. But that's not the point. That's not the point. This is about optics. Every time we get into the argument about book banning, all the news covers is articles about book banning. How does that look? Sometimes you need to take the L on things and move on to things that matter more. You are never going to get rid of all the books you don't like. And I'm sorry to tell this to conservative parents, but if your kids want to read books about subjects that you don't like, they're going to find ways to. How many teenage boys 40 years ago had a Playboy under their bed? It's not as though they can't get a hold of this stuff. They will get a hold of this stuff if they want to. If you don't want them reading this, the place to take care of that is in the home. It's in the home. When you screw around with stuff like this, you're seriously jeopardizing and causing a lot of chaos in a movement that is already hard enough. And I say this as a person that's been doing this for 2 GD years, that's been out in the real world trying to do this stuff, trying to help parents move this along, doing everything I can to research and find this stuff in schools, doing everything I can to get laws passed, educating people about this shit. I'm sorry, this is already difficult enough. Please stop making it harder with making me deal with this bullshit. You're making winning harder. You're making winning harder. If you want to change this, then do it in the home. Do it in the home. Because you will never completely get rid of books you don't like. It will not happen. The internet exists. The internet is a thing. All your kids have computers. All your kids have phones. They can access whatever books they want. They're all effing digital. It doesn't matter if they're in the library. Incognito says blue check conservatives leading sheep and sold out because the left has the institutions behind them to cover because they do the exact same thing. Incognito, I don't disagree with you at all. I don't. Emphasize says that's the problem. It's all a bowel movement. Yeah, I mean, Emphasize, I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I hate you for making me say that. Thank you for the super chat. Her safe haven is now a battleground in an unprecedented effort by parents and conservative politicians in Texas to ban books dealing with race, sexuality, and gender from schools, an NBC News investigation has found. Hundreds of titles have been pulled from libraries across the state for review, sometimes over the objections of school librarians, several of whom told NBC News they faced increasingly hostile work environments and mounting pressure to preemptively pull books that might cause complaints. Records requests to nearly 100 school districts in Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, and Austin regions, and a small sampling of the state's 1,250 public school systems revealed 75 formal requests by parents and community members to ban books from libraries during the first 4 months of the school year. Now, I'm not going to pretend that 75 requests is a lot of requests. It's frankly not. If we're talking about looking at 100 different school districts, 75 requests is not a lot of requests, but that's not the point because those 75 requests led to an article in flipping NBC News. This is where you need to actually start playing the 4D chess that you claimed that Trump played for his entire presidency. If you send in requests about banning books, you could end up getting us on the goddamn news for the wrong things. That's why. You need to think of others and not just yourself. And I know that sounds like a communist idea, but a lot of people have given up a lot to be able to fight back for you. And if you F it up for all of us, then we're going to stop fighting at some point because you make it too hard. So many people I know that have been out there doing this work for years are starting to quit because it's too hard. And if it's made harder by the people that we're trying to help, guys, come on. All but a few of the challenges this year targeted books dealing with racism or sexuality, the majority of them featuring LGBTQ characters and explicit descriptions of sex. And I want to make this clear if it's not clear already. I don't want explicit descriptions or depictions of sex in books in K through 12 schools. I disagree with that. I also think that you can fight that battle in a way that's not trying to ban books about race. We've got some banned books there. Why are we sexualizing our precious children? A Katie parent said at a November school board meeting after she suggested that books about LGBTQ relationships are causing children to improperly question their gender identities and sexual orientations. Another parent in Katy, a Houston suburb, asked the district to remove a children's biography of Michelle Obama arguing it promotes reverse racism against white people, and this starts to be the problem. Do not tell me Do not tell me that conservatives are just trying to ban porn. They are not just trying to ban porn. I have seen so many reports of conservatives trying to ban books about race that they do not like. Unacceptable. I'm sorry for the people who have no part in this that are needing to listen to me give a lecture right now. I apologize to all you guys because I know many of you in the chat agree with me. But this is for the people who are not listening. You are not just trying to ban books about porn. Don't lie to me and say you are. I know I'm going to get comments. You're trying to apply a strategy you use to ban the most inappropriate things to everything you don't like. And that's when you start to screw things up for the rest of us. Tried to remove a children's biography of Michelle Obama, arguing it promotes reverse racism against white people. A parent of a Dallas suburb wanted the school to ban a children's picture book about the life of Black Olympian Wilma Rudolph because it mentions racism that Rudolph faced growing up in Tennessee. There's no reason to ban that. None. In the affluent Eanes Independent School District in Austin, a parent proposed replacing 4 books about racism, including How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi, with copies of the Bible. Yeah, that doesn't look good either, man, and I don't like How to Be an Anti-Racist being in schools, but you know what? So be it. Your little darlings are going to have to deal with books they don't like being on shelves, and if they don't want to read the book, then they shouldn't have to read the flipping book. And even worse than that, you coming in and saying, we should put copies of the Bible on the school shelves. Are you effing kidding me? Some of us are not Christian. Some of us don't want the Bible in school. It's no different. It's no different. It is absolutely no different. So please stop doing this crap, guys. My intent here is to show you exactly how this gets painted every single day. There are ways that you can fight back that are actually productive. There are ways that you can fight back that will help everyone. But you're choosing the most ridiculous ways. You're choosing ways that hold us all back. You're choosing ways that will not help. And here's what I'm going to get. I'm going to get people like this, and I like you, so don't get it twisted. Why do you believe the media story? Because it's true. I've seen dozens of stories like this. I've seen conservatives bragging about doing this shit on Twitter. Don't tell me this isn't true. Conservatives always do this shit. They always lie. Conservatives do this all the time. They get caught doing something that's bad, and they're like, well, how do you know it's true? Because I've seen you guys bragging about it on Twitter. That's how I know. Please stop doing this shit. All right. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm sorry for the rant if that made you uncomfortable or if you had feelings about it. But we do want to end on a happy note. Now, as a reminder, Nothing Remotely Controversial is tonight at 9:30. This is a weekly show that I do with my friend Joshua the Psychic, where we talk about the news and psychic-y things. And because I do this at 9:30 on Tuesdays, I thought I would talk about Tarot Tuesday. Now, one of the cards that I really like in the tarot is the Fool. Now, I'm not doing psychic stuff right now. Tarot cards are just archetypes. They're just archetypes of different stages that we move through in life. I love the Fool card. Sometimes the most advantageous thing you can be is the Fool. What do you guys see when you see that card? What type of themes come up in your head? I'm looking for some stuff in the chat. As I'm waiting for you guys to type in what you think of this card and what you think it means. I'm just checking in on Odyssey. Thank you for my viewers there, and on Rockfin. Thank you guys. Here's what I like about the Fool. The Fool doesn't give an F. The Fool has no time for nonsense and no time for bullies, and is just waltzing through the woods, enjoying life, not a care in the world. You know what's really great about the Fool? Does that look like an outfit that you would use to wear to go on a hike? Does that look like an appropriate outfit for a hike? No, it does not look like an appropriate outfit for a hike. Sin says, oh, where's my mouse? Hang on. Sin says the Fool is about beginnings, adventure, and naivete. Patrice says the Fool is standing close to the ledge and is going to fall fast. But here's the thing about the Fool, Patrice. Yes, the Fool is standing close to the ledge. Yes, the Fool is walking through the woods and isn't really looking where he's going because he's looking up. He's not looking down. He's looking up. He doesn't even know the ledge is here. He's just having a grand old time living his life. And he's walking right towards that cliff. But do we know that's a big cliff? Do we know there's not a ledge right here that the Fool could fall onto? I don't know that. You don't know that. Maybe it's an 800-foot drop to the bottom of a chasm. Maybe it's a 5-foot drop to a ledge right below the picture. We don't know. We don't know. And I think it's natural to try to anticipate that when you're just off having a great time in life and doing your thing with your dog in the woods wearing a crazy outfit that has no business being in the woods at all, we make the assumption that that cliff is the worst thing that could happen. We make the assumption that that cliff is bad. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's just a little fall. Maybe nothing's going to happen. Maybe he's going to wake up right before he gets to the cliff. We don't know. We don't know. And I think what I think of when I think of the Fool is a naivete that, I think human beings are their own worst enemy in a lot of respects. I think so many of us look for reasons to create obstacles, to create problems in our own lives. We actually subconsciously look for reasons to create problems. We look for reasons to be more stressed out. We look for reasons to be angry. How many people on the internet right now are addicted to outrage? A lot. Not even just on the internet, if we're honest. The Fool isn't looking for reasons to be angry. The Fool isn't looking for reasons to be stressed out. The Fool is fully in the present moment, not a care in the world, not worrying about the past, not worrying about the future, fully invested in the present moment. In an attitude that says, the world is a beautiful place and I have nothing to worry about. Bad things happen in people's lives. It is very possible that the Fool could fall down a really big cliff. That is entirely possible. Bad things can happen. But when we make the assumption that bad things are going to happen to us, that's when we make them more likely to happen. There's another card that I was thinking about talking about today for different reasons, and it's this card. This card, the Three of Swords. I was thinking of talking about this card because I was thinking about the idea that when we're sad about something, it's usually because of a story we've created in our heads. There's heartbreak in this card. But the heartbreak doesn't come from it's not the emotion. The emotion's not causing it. What's causing it is the mental process, because swords are mental process. It's the swords causing the heartbreak. The mental process, how we're looking at the world, the worry that we have, the pain that we have, the stress that we have, the perspective that we have. That's what's creating the sorrow. That's what's creating the heartbreak. It's our perspective. And if we want to feel better, if we don't want to feel sorry, we simply need to change our perspective. That takes the swords away. The Fool doesn't have those swords. The Fool doesn't have any of that. because the fool is just waltzing through the woods, not a care in the world, not creating sorrow for himself. Most of the time, when we have challenges in life, they are created challenges that we create in our own heads. We have to take responsibility for our actions. What I love about the fool is he's exercising one of my top 3 mindfulness principles, which is he's living in the present moment. He's not worried about what's gone on in the past. He's not worried nothing's made him upset in the past. He's also not worried about what's gonna happen in the future. As Hallie said, the fool is also non-judgmental, which is another one of my top 3 mindfulness techniques. The first one is be aware, the second is be non-judgmental, the third is be in the present moment. The fool isn't making judgments about things. He's not saying this is good or this is bad. It just is. It just is. If anything, the fool is judging things in a positive manner rather than a negative. Ethan says the fool is like a child. Absolutely, a fool is like a child. Absolutely. Has that beautiful childhood naivete. Listen, have any of you ever met like a pissed off baby? I'm not talking about a baby that's hungry. I'm not talking about a baby that's like, kicked something and hurt its foot. I'm talking about a baby that's like pissed off. Not one that's tired, not one that's hungry, not one that's accidentally hurt itself. Have any of you met a baby that was ever genuinely pissed off? Probably not. If you're honest, if the baby was crying or the baby was fussy, most of the time they were either tired or they were hungry or they needed something. And as soon as they got the thing that they needed, they weren't pissed off anymore. No, I'm going to bet you, Sin and Hallie, I'm going to bet you haven't. I'm sorry. I don't think that was pissed off. I think that was tired or hungry or needed something, and crying is the only way, or being fussy is the only way to tell you what they need. They weren't mad. Once you gave them the thing they wanted, they were fine. Maybe sometimes we confuse that. Yeah, exactly, Gretchen. Like a 3-year-old who just wants their juice. They just want their juice. They're not pissed. They just want their juice. You give them the juice, they stop fussing. You know? So I guess moral of the story, guys, and I'm going to wrap up this stream because I got stuff to do. I got 3 hours before my stream with Joshua. Got work to do. Maybe I'm going to take a nap. We'll see. That'd be actually pretty great if I got a nap and I got like 4 hours of sleep last night. But try to be the fool, guys. It's a much better place to be. Like even in cases sometimes where you need to act stupid, like it's okay to act dumb sometimes, even when you're not, even when you know exactly what you're doing. You can get good information out of people when you act like an idiot. Trust me. Trust me, you can get great information from people when you act like an idiot. Just like, this is a really stupid question, but I just don't know. Can I just ask this? And what's this? And what's this? You get great information about people when you act stupid. Ask Joshua how his life changed. I'll tell you what, he uses that all the time. Emphasize says, Dorothy running through the poppies? Sure. All right, and Emphasize, I think you had another super chat as well. Master Chief and Halo, me playing Seamus and Metroid. I don't know what that is, Emphasize, but thank you for that. All right, guys, that's all I've got for this one. A little bit of half-assed Tarot Tuesday today, if I'm honest, but I'm sorry. I had a really busy day. I did the best I could. We're going to do more tarot cards tonight. Tonight, we're going to look at Andrew Breitbart's chart. Now, Andrew Breitbart, actually, we'll close with this. Andrew Breitbart was the inspiration for Actively Unwoke, the book that I wrote. And apparently today is Andrew Breitbart's birthday. And I thought so much about Andrew Breitbart when I was writing Actively Unwoke. I really wanted, I remember texting Dave Rubin one time and I was like, can you think of anyone that's attacked CRT in the way that Andrew Breitbart did? And he said that James Lindsay was as close as he could come to. And I agree with him. James Lindsay does a really good job. He does an amazing job. You guys know, like, he is a hero. He's a king. He is all good things. But I thought a lot about how Andrew Breitbart would try to attack critical race theory. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. And what I love about Breitbart is his absolute righteous indignation. And this video is just one of my favorite things ever. Let's start it from the beginning. I'm going to pause it. If you haven't seen this, it's just real quick, 25 seconds. Every time I watch this video, I probably watched it hundreds of times, I get fired up. I'm ready to go. Let's see.
All the people that have gone out there against the mainstream media and said, you're going to call us racist, you're going to call us potential Timothy McVeighs, fuck you. War.
I really wish that I had been around and had red pilled in time to know Andrew Breitbart in person, or at least to, not in person, like personally, like BFFs, but like to know him when he was living. I want to have Joshua psychic tonight if he was assassinated. Happy birthday to Andrew Breitbart. I really should have dedicated Actively Unwoke to Andrew Breitbart. That was a misstep on my part. I dedicated it to Victor. I really should have dedicated it to Andrew Breitbart. I have a little bit of sorrow about that. We will have an unofficial dedication, unofficially to you, Andrew. Thank you for inspiring my book. Guys, if you want to get a copy of Actively Unwoke, which is a book all about fighting back against the woke insanity in your life, it is available for pre-order now. You can also go to the website. You can watch the recording of the webinar that I just did today. Just go to the registration page. The recording should be right there. I also have a couple more webinars coming up over the next couple weeks. We have, of course, Nicole Solis on February 11th, teaching us how to write public records requests, way more effective than banning books. We have Paul Rossi on February 17th, exposing what teachers are really learning in all those diversity trainings. We also have book club for my local supporters on February 20th. We're reading The R of the Mind. It's going to be it actually is a really good book, really interesting. If you want to get access to my locals community, including that book club, please make sure you head over to kb.locals.com/support. You can sign up for $5 a month. You can sign up for $50 a year, which gives you 2 months for free. You can make a one-time gift. You can join my locals call tomorrow at noon. If you do that, it's a private Zoom call, not recorded. And you'll get to meet the other awesome members of my community. Savrits! Hey, Carlin, we love you. Remember, we are all dealing with a convert or force kill wokies. Thank you, Savrits, for your support. I appreciate you. Emphasize the fool, playing Pokemon Go, out Harry Potter Go. All right, guys. I will see you in a couple hours for Actively Unwoke. Take care, and we'll see you soon.